Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Rick. This is Yacht Elf, the oldest active racing yacht in America. A real challenge to sail because there's over a mile of strings on this boat. And the bigger challenge is cooking in this galley. It's a small, tight galley, and I'm a big boy. But if I don't keep the crew fed, they get mutinous. And I don't want that on my watch. Time for me to get busy and get something going to feed the crew. I'm going to make my crab bisque today because I like to take and make something to keep the crew kind of satisfied before dinner. So this is a little before dinner effort, and that gives me a chance to get cooking dinner, and the crew aren't barking down, when's dinner gonna be ready? Takes the edge off, you know. And I like that because I want to keep them happy so they don't mutiny. So today what we're going to do is start with getting some onion going, finely diced and that type of thing. The onion gives a nice zing to it. I've already peeled and halved my onion, and we're going to just take and carefully dice it. And it's sometimes a little difficult to get really fine because we're rocking and rolling around here on the boat, which I respect. Okay, while we're dicing the onion, I want to tell you a little bit about some of the things I've learned here at Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum in St. Michael's, Maryland. We have been going around the museum learning all about the crabs, and that's important to do. Pick up the crab by the back, swim it in, and he can't pinch you if you do it correctly. Now he's trying real hard with this shell, and I'm not letting him do it. This is what would be referred to as a number 2 crab, because they measure it from this point to this point. It has to be a minimum of 3.5 inches. They're fast little critters. Okay, this one is what we would refer to as a number 1. It's not a jumbo or a Jimmy, but it's at least 5 inches from this point to this point. Well, I'm here aboard the Doris M with Rick Carrion, and he's going to talk about crabs and oysters in Chesapeake Bay and his way of life here as an oysterman, crabber, and what have you here on Chesapeake Bay. Turk, take her away.
Yeah, well, I've been out here a long time. I've done that for 20 years.
20 years, wow.
20 years, yeah. That's a long time. When you're young, everything's fun.
Everything's fun, and you can go all day.
I just love to be out there.
I used to have my commercial license and did trot line, and I understand what you're doing, baiting up and what have you. We used to use salt eel, but we used to catch our own eel in the early spring.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
That was all everybody thought they could catch a crab with was eel.
Eel, yeah. And you're doing chicken necks, and you also talk about the clams. They take and put clams in a bag and tie the bag up, and that's a real good attractor for the crabs too.
Yeah, different, but early in the spring. If you don't have clams on, you ain't gonna catch no crabs.
Oh, is that so? I'll be darned.
That is crazy.
Isn't that something?
Hook them on to these snaps.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the line.
Okay.
And then you run along slow and run your line out.
Right.
Then when you get ready to crab, that roller.
Right.
That roller goes on the side and your line comes up on it. So it's real simple.
Sure.
You just run down it real slow.
Nice and slow.
Just dip them off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it ain't no fun when it ain't no crabs coming up on it.
No, I hear you there.
But it's a lot of fun when you dip the crabs. See me with a smile on my face.
There you go. How do you like to cook your crabs and spice them?
Oh, I like them spiced up real good, steam them.
Uh-huh.
I like them better that way. I'd rather have them that way in crab cakes.
Oh, okay. I love it that way too. I pick a crab out myself. I can pick an entire crab out in a minute. That's when I'm pushing it, but I like taking my time and enjoying it and having a little beverage, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Eat, like making it all work.
My wife gets mad with me sometimes. Don't you bring no more crabs on?
How bad?
Don't bring no crabs on tomorrow, because when I had left over, and then she picked. She had pick them out.
She'll have to pick them out and make crab cakes. There you go. And she wants those big ones, not those little ones, right?
Yep, you don't like them little ones.
I know it. People are funny about that,
I don't like them little ones.
How about it? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, because I love eating crabs, and I know someone's got to go out there and get them. Okay, I'm going to start off with putting half of the onion in a pan, and then we'll get a little heat going, and then we'll be able to get this thing started. This is a rather quick recipe, which is kind of nice, because I like to keep my crew kind of happily fed, and it's important to do as we're going along to do something that's quick and easy, something that I can do probably in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to show you how to do this whole thing rather quickly. I'm just using some of the butters from breakfast leftover from the toast, and I just slap them in there. Okay. It's kind of one of those things we conserve butter. We, want to not waste things, and I bring it back from extras from breakfast. Okay, let me get the pan started. We're cooking with gas in reality, and it's going to be starting high, but I gradually turn it way back. Okay, I like to put a clear lid on. I like to be able to monitor everything I'm doing, looking right through the pan into my bisque or soup or whatever I'm making. Okay, we'll get that warmed up, and I'm going to get the crab out of the ice box. Crab is very delicate, and it's very important to keep it in ice at all times. As I'm bringing it back from Big Al's, I have it in a bag of ice so that we don't have any issue. And that's very important. As soon as I get back to the boat, I put it right in the ice box and keep it there until I'm ready to use it. So that's what I'm doing next, is getting the ice box open and getting my crab meat out so that we can just keep a move on here. Gotta be careful I don't knock something over. I got so many things here. Rather small galley, as we've indicated before. Okay. I'm only using a half pound of crab meat in this, as I've been using like a half pound at a time in different dishes. So this is some of the Chesapeake Bay's finest crab meat, just a nice back lump. Okay, and what I like to do is gradually go through it to make sure that the crab pickers didn't leave a lot of shell or any of the other materials in the crab meat that I bought. So I'll take a couple of moments. Now I want to turn the heat way down now. Okay, we don't want to, I did turn it down, I turned it off. Come on. Okay, gotta adjust it. My adjustments are very difficult to maintain here, but we're gonna do the best we can. I'm picking through this. Seems to have been very nicely picked. Not a lot of issues I can find. And of course, sometimes they get by, and we do the best we can. Okay, we're just going to do this to start. Very good, very good. I'm just going to put it all in, and all the little juices here, they add to the flavor. Keep in mind, this crab has actually already been pre-cooked before they took it out of the shells. So that makes it a lot easier for, working with here on board. I'm going to just do a little douse of the hands. Get things going here. I like to keep a clean galley, or I should say as clean as I can. Okay. We're going to just put the lid on in just a moment. Okay. let's get the lid on, let that warm up, and I'm going to take and put some of my Lee & Perrins thick sauce in. And you got to be careful you don't do too much. You can always add a little extra as you go along. I just want to work this in as the crab is just warming up because they kind of pull together the flavors. So we're going to put a few shakes, a few little dribbles in. Well, that's going to be enough, and I'm sure it will be good. Another item I like to add at this time is just a little bit of Old Bay. I don't want to add too much. I like to add this right as the crab is starting to warm up and cook, and I'm just going to use a little shaker end. There's one for the spoon and one that pours and that type of thing. I don't want to do too much. And it's great stuff. But if you don't have Old Bay, you have some other particular seafood spice you like, use it. It's all good. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this, and then we're going to see how we're doing as far as the warm-up and get that all kind of worked around. Wish we had smell-o-vision because the aromas are just really peaking beautifully. Okay, we're gonna let that kind of cook for a moment, and the next thing I'm going to do is add my fat-free half and half. That makes for a nice creamy, rich bisque, and I think you're going to love it. So let me open it up and get it ready. I want to make sure the crab kind of melds a moment with the other flavors before I add this, and we'll be good. Let's get that right again, and I'll show you what we've got before we add. And that's starting to just smell so good. Okay, crab is one of my favorite Maryland seafoods, and it's so diverse, so versatile, and very light. You can do so many things with it, be it your crab cakes, your crab bisque, your crab soups. Oh my goodness, there's like imperial. I do a crab omelet. I do at Christmas time, day after Christmas, I do a special Christmas brunch for some of my closest friends, and I have done this as a tradition for several years, and I make a special crab omelet that they just absolutely love. So we'll do that in another show. So here we are. I want to show you where we are as far as the cooking. Okay. Ooh. Here we can see it's just nicely bubbling here in the bottom, and you can see how much crab and just a little bit of onion, a little bit of seasoning we have here today, and it is doing beautifully. Okay, so next item, put it back on the stove. We got to be careful we don't overdo it. But next thing we're doing is our half and half, and of course I like the no fat or fat-free, and I'm just going to add all this in. It's a pint, and that works out beautifully. Okay, I'm going to let that warm a minute and tell you about another ingredient. Okay, for bisques and things, I like to just simply get a can of Campbell's tomato bisque. It's quick and easy to change up by adding this into my mix, and now it's a bisque. So you go to different restaurants and what have you, you order a bisque. It's got the different tomato base in there. So let's get ready and add that. We're going to add this entire can, and the nice thing is they make it easy on me and make the tops so I can just pull them off. Okay, so that's the next ingredient, and then we'll stir it all up and I'll give you a peek. Okay, nice and thick. Boy, that went well. Alright, let me stir it and I'll give you a peek, and then we'll add our last couple of ingredients. Okay. Now, you've got just a slight pink color to it because of the tomato bisque, and it's going to be thickened up in just a moment with some little special ingredient that I'm going to share with you as to what it is. I like mine just a little thicker, and we're going to thicken it up. Okay, let it warm a moment. The next item that we're going to thicken with is just a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of this at a time. This is like an instant mashed potato, and it's like a roasted garlic. The roasted garlic adds another dimension of flavor. So I enjoy this as my thickener, which a lot of people don't think about, but this is my secret ingredient for thickening. Okay, I'm just going to open that up. And before I thicken, I like to take a moment and taste everything, just see how we're doing. So we'll take a little taste, and I'll give you a little bit of an idea as to how we're doing. And let me do it so I don't make a mess all over. In the galley, it's important to try to minimize the mess. But let's see what we got here. Oh boy, that looks so good. That tomato gives a little sweet flavor. The crab meat is nice. Needs a little bit more Lee and Perrin Worcestershire sauce. And just a little bit more spice. Okay, I'm going to add a little. Oop, wrong lid. Okay. A little bit more Old Bay, and then we'll see how we're doing here. Right, let me kind of mix that in. Starting to warm nicely. You've got to be very careful with this that you don't boil it. You want to bring it up very nice and warm to hot, I should say, and not boil it in the process. And we're very close. We're very close to getting it to a stopping point. Let me just kind of do a little cleanup on aisle 4. Okay, crabs, as I was saying earlier, are interesting crustacean that live in the bay, and they move up the bay from the lower bay to the upper bay through the life cycle. And by the time they get up the upper bay, most of them are very large, and we love them. And we had some last night from Big Al's, and oh my goodness, they were fantastic. I think I'm about ready to have some more tonight. It smells so good. It's starting to just get a little bubbly, so I want to turn that heat off. I don't want to get it too much before we go. Okay, you've got the pink, you got wonderful. You can adjust your flavors, but you got to be careful. You don't put too much in because you can't take it out. So you put a little at a time and keep tasting it. Keep enjoying it. Okay. And like I said, the last ingredient to thicken, which it won't need a lot, is my mashed potato, dried. And I'm just going to put a little in at a time and see how we do. I'll probably use about half of this package in total. Then I stir it in and check how we're doing thickness-wise, because I like my bisque nice and thick. Oh boy, that looks so good. Now just a little more. Okay, a little more. So a little more than half of this package. And I think that's going to do it. I don't want it to be paste, which you can actually, by adding too much, you can actually get to a pasty kind of configuration. Ah, that's very good. Very good. Okay, we're just about there. I think that's the right consistency. I think it's going to just be wonderful. I'm going to turn the heat off because I know it's hot enough. Okay. So here we have, quick and easy, a pot of my crab bisque that we're getting ready to serve up to the crew. They will absolutely love me for this one. Oh, it is nice and thick, just like I want. Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And what I like to do is just a little topping on the very top after I get all set up. Just a little bit of Old Bay or whatever favorite spice you like to use. So I'm going to finish it with a little topping of Old Bay. And then I'm going to pour a little wine out that the crew has already been sampling. And then we're going to have at it, as it were. I'm going to pour out a little bit of my favorite pairing for our crab bisque, their St. Michael's Winery Chardonnay. This is a 2010 bottle, and we've had it cooling earlier, and it is just right. So we'll get a little bit for this meal, and this should hold the crew for a little while before we have the main course. So here we have our wine and crab bisque as kind of a starter to knock the edge off and keep my crew happy, because I don't want them to mutiny while I'm trying to cook dinner. I want to be cooking in as a relaxed atmosphere as possible. I don't want to hear, "When's dinner coming?" Damn it! Damn it! I've had enough. This is it.